learning to let go is so beautiful because it's sort of what motherhood is. At some point, even though, it hurts to think of it, we'll have to let them go and be and live their lives. So even in these little small ways from the very beginning, we're getting that lesson in motherhood.
Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV. Tune in on Monday, tune in on Tuesday, tune in on Wednesday, tune in on Thursday, tune in on Friday, through the weekend. Oh, Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV. Tiffany TV.
Okay, so we are back. This is Sierra, my amazing doula. She will be my doula forever and ever and ever, like even if I have no
Yay.
more kids. So you guys loved our last video, and we've been getting so much feedback just about how much you learned and how much you got to know about birthing and pregnancy and advocating for yourself and all that good stuff. So we definitely wanted to do a part 2 where we kind of just touch on some things that you're worried about with postpartum, after having the baby, adjusting to mommyhood. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself again, because we'll have some new viewers this time.
Hey everybody, I'm Sierra Sankofa, Sierra McClain-Henry, however you may know me. I am Tiffany's doula. I'm a doula and birth educator. I like to call myself a birth worker because I feel like I do all of the jobs. So that's me.
She knows everything. I swear, everything I ask her, she's like, hold on, I have this answer. I've done it before. I've been through it. This is my girl. We like talk every day. Lately, we've been a little busy, but we talk and catch up with each other like every day. We're always here. So I think this is going to be fun, being able to answer you guys' questions. So what we're going to do, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just have to say that I'm a mom too. I have to throw that in there. I'm a mom first. And so that informs everything that I do.
Yes. She has experienced it all. And a lot of the questions that you guys have, C is going to be able to touch on, because we've already talked about it, and I'm excited to get to some of them. So what I did was, on Instagram, I asked what questions you guys have for postpartum. I'm sorry, because we asked like a few weeks ago and somehow the answers got deleted. So I'm going to try to remember some of those answers, or some of those questions, and we'll try to get to it. But right now we're going to go off the ones that we got today. And this was one I really wanted to touch on, because I'm not experiencing it, but a lot of people have been asking about it. How do you deal with postpartum anxiety?
I think that the main thing to do is to not deal with postpartum in postpartum only. You want to look ahead to postpartum while you're still pregnant. Birth plans, we got it. We know birth planning, it's all over the place. Not so known, the fact that you should really look into postpartum planning as well. I actually use a postpartum planning guide that I created because it's that serious. You need to look ahead to that time. Practical things can add into your anxiety and stress in the same way they do in pregnancy. What am I going to do about if you have other children? What am I going to do about making sure that other kids aren't bored or that they feel engaged? Or even small things that we consider small, like, cooking the food, who's going to do this and that, who's going to do the housework, take care of things. A lot of us tend to want to do it all and do it all ourselves. So those things can bring on anxiety. Plus, this desire to be the perfect mom, to, I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to do anything wrong. You have to free yourself from all of that, and then look ahead and plan for what you can. But understand that just like you can never fully be prepared, for what you're going to face in labor and delivery, you can't fully prepare for all that's to come. Take it easy on yourself, have that grace, that patience with yourself. Even if this is not your first baby, understand that, some days are going to be good and you're going to be, batting 1,000. You'll feel like you're doing everything right. And then some days you'll feel like, why did I get out of bed? And know that that's perfectly normal. Another great way besides planning ahead for postpartum would be to make sure that you connect with some other moms. that is a great reality check. We need those reality checks. We need those reality checks to remind us, like, girl, it's not just you. You're going to be okay. I remember going through that stage, you know, either with my body, with my healing, or with my child. Sometimes that's all you need to be able to keep going, is to know that there are some other people who have been through this, and there's hope because they made it through as well. The last thing I would say is, do not overlook your mental health. Mom's mental health matters. It's not just that our self-care is, you know, getting our nails done and getting a massage. Take care of you. If you need to, then reach out. We can't solve everything on our own. There are so many mental health professionals that specialize in working with moms. And you know what? If you feel like you need to talk to someone, you just feel like you need to talk to someone. You know, there's nothing that makes you less of a mom, anything like that. We all get anxiety. We all get those stresses. We just want to make sure that we make a plan to deal with it.
Yep. And just to touch on what you just said, I think the reason why I just said I haven't really dealt with postpartum anxiety on a high level. I mean, I think we all have our levels of anxiety, period. But
Sure.
you know, dealing with like postpartum anxiety, I haven't dealt with much of it, again, because I worked very closely with you to talk about, you know, preparing myself for postpartum and transitioning as smoothly as possible. So we talked about having like people to rely on, having people to call when I need a break. I prepared myself. I told my family and friends when they kept asking, like, what can I do for you, or how can we help? I asked them, can they cook? Can they buy us food? Can they bring us food?
Absolutely.
Everything else, thank God, was taken care of. So we had the things we needed in the house and all of that. But like thinking about every day having to get up and cook or think about what to eat, taking that off of my plate, that was such a major thing. People don't think about that little part of like just eating. Like that is so major. You wake up every day and you're like, damn, my husband didn't eat, or like I'm breastfeeding and I need to eat consistently to make sure that I can keep my stamina up, you know, to keep feeding my baby and nourishing my baby. So like that alone, everyone took note to that, and they've been sending like Uber Eats gift cards.
I love it.
Yes, my mom has been cooking for us nonstop since baby has gotten here. So it's been so helpful. And and like you said, also not trying to do it all. I think the anxiety comes from, and even with me preparing, there is this small feeling sometimes where I'm like, well, damn, if I can't work and cook and be a good mom and be a good wife, like, am I really like am I really doing it? Like, am I really killing it if I can't do all these things and still maintain? Because I feel like sometimes when we're looking at social media and we see like,
oh my gosh, yes.
Right. It's like mainly like celebrities and influencers too. You'll look at an influencer's page and you'll think, you know, we got it all together and we're doing all this stuff. And that's why I make it a priority to let people know I don't do this alone. And if I was doing it alone, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, if it wasn't for my husband stepping up, if it wasn't for my mom stepping in and like, hey, let me get the baby, you guys go ahead and work or do what you have to do, or just take a break, I would not be able to do all the things that you see on social media, do my job. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Right. And it's remember that because social media is such a big part of our culture now, you have to remember that, you know, that you're seeing a snapshot in time, you know what I mean? And, you know, we look at those things and we think, well, this is the mark for motherhood. There is no mark, you know, everyone has their struggles, but maybe you're not seeing theirs, you're living yours, you know, and that comparison, it truly can skew your reality, you know what I mean, and make you feel like something's missing in your life. I think that's why it's important to unplug. As moms, you know, Tiff, at the end of your pregnancy, I suggested it, like take some time with your phone on do not disturb, away from everybody else. Just be in that moment, removing those external forces. It can kind of bring you back to a space where you can appreciate where you are. There's no supposed to be in motherhood. You know, I see all things, even down to, you know, letting people know that it's okay if you're not enjoying it one day.
Yeah.
You're a person. You're allowed the full spectrum of emotions. There's no book that says once you enter motherhood, you're only allowed, these. No, like feel what you feel. And that's authentic. That's you showing up authentically as yourself. But like I said, the important thing is that you make some plans and figure out what you're going to do with that. You don't want to stay stuck there, because we do, as moms, we have these little people who depend on us, and we do have a responsibility to figure it out. We have to make sure that we're showing up whole for them. We do the work, they can't, and so we do. And if you're unsure of where to turn, there's so many resources online for that, but I definitely recommend starting with a plan, a postpartum plan.
And like you said, one of the most important things is not comparing your journey to anybody else's. Because what I see a lot of times is like, people will look at someone's page, let's say my page, or look at someone's journey, their friend, whoever, and they'll see that person, like, I'm enjoying motherhood. I haven't had many days where I've woken up and don't enjoy it, but there are some people that do, and that's reality.
Yeah.
The reality is there are some people who just truly value and present in every moment and don't have that bad time, and then there's people who are having a harder time, and that's okay. Like, that's the reality. Is like, you don't have to be me. You don't have to be Sierra. You don't have to be,
right.
You are having your own personal experience. Like, allow yourself to have that experience without comparing it to someone else's journey, because that will take really, really quickly.
For sure. There's like a thin line of knowing like when you need to shut everything and everyone out. And when it's starting to cloud your mind in the way of you're having those thoughts of comparison, or am I just like so and so? And then there's times when you need to know when you need to let somebody in. You got to have a person, at least a person, if not more, but you got to have someone that you feel comfortable talking to, whether it's the good, the bad, the in between. I feel like that's so important, to have an outlet, to have your person in motherhood who understands you and is a non-judgmental space where you can just kind of air it out. Get a doula, man. Maybe you and your doula will become friends for life, and it'll just flow. It happens.
My person, guys. She's my person.
I'm glad.
So to piggyback off of that, and then we'll go back to another question. I've seen a lot of people asking, like, if they don't have the help, like if they're a single mom, or if they just don't, maybe they're like military moms who live in a different city or something like that, and don't have dad there all the time to help. Like, what would you suggest that they do to get that time, or to, like, get their mental in order to keep going?
Yeah. So you definitely need to, I'm going to echo myself again. You need to look ahead to postpartum. You may not know what to expect. So you should definitely talk to someone, plug in to somebody who's been there, ask them what it was like for them, and throw those things around in your mind while you're still pregnant. It takes some planning and being strategic when you're in situations like that, when you don't have a support system, but you can still see to yourself. In the beginning, when your baby is a newborn, sleep is going to tick off a lot of the boxes and what you need to do to take care of yourself. But even just allowing yourself that, figuring out, well, okay, if I don't have a lot of help, the baby's sleeping, everybody's telling me I should sleep when the baby sleeps. It may mean getting yourself to a point where you're okay with leaving some things undone for a little bit. That self-care in the beginning may look like, okay, well, I took the laundry out of the dryer, but it's sitting in the basket and the baby is asleep. If I'm going to continue to be okay, I need a rest. So I might have to leave that basket for a little bit. It takes a shift. Your life is not quite the same. You have this person who is so dependent. So don't have this expectation that you'll have the baby and you have to go back to normal. You will come to know a new way of life. You know what I mean? And take that slowly. It's okay to reach outward for help to other people. And even in some cases that may not look like what you think. If you find yourself in a place where you don't know anyone, Looking for help may mean reaching out to someone you don't personally know, but there are organizations and services and people who are available to offer assistance in different ways. Maybe you don't know of anyone, but you could look out for a doula, like Tiff said, even virtually, having somebody that you can lean into and talk to. Or maybe you do know that there are some doulas where you are. Look for a postpartum doula. They can come in, they can be that support that you need. Find a long distance mommy friend if you have to, but hang in there and know that you're doing the very best you can. And oftentimes it's us who are judging the journey hard. It's not the baby. I don't want to say oftentimes. It's never the baby, okay? The baby just wants you. That's it. And so again, going back to that, have the grace and the patience with yourself and understand that your best is okay. Your best is good enough. Your best is what you can do. And from moment to moment, that's how we take it.
Yeah. And it's being unapologetic about leaving stuff undone. That's another thing. Like, don't just leave it undone.
For sure.
Mom guilt yourself into like feeling like crap. Because let me tell y'all something.
Yeah.
I had a basket of clothes that were supposed to be folded. I left it because Sierra told me leave like a labor project. And so I left some things unfolded, right? It's 3 months later. There's a basket still in the corner of the room right here with a pile of clothes because I keep washing clothes, but I don't have time to fold it. And, Kev is jumping in to help me be able to do this right here. And he still has work to get done. And when my mom comes over, she's trying to cook. So it's like that basket of clothes has not gotten done. And there are moments where I'm like, gosh, I just want to get it, out of the way. I want to put it away. I want the room to be clean. And then I take a breath and I'm like, I have a whole human that I've been keeping alive for 3 months. I've been doing a great job. It'll be okay. Because there's going to come a moment where he can sit down on the floor and play, right?
Yes.
There's going to be a moment where he's going to give me a little more free time to do this stuff. Clothes in a basket are not the worst things. And trust me, if you're someone your house being clean, I get the anxiety of like seeing stuff. Trust me, we're going through it too. But I think that's just a normal part of the adjustment. Like, you get used to things not being how they used to be. You have to adjust and figure out your schedule with this new being in your life.
Learning to let go is so beautiful because it's sort of what motherhood is. At some point, even though, it hurts to think of it, we'll have to let them go and be and live their lives. So even in these little small ways from the very beginning, we're getting that lesson in motherhood. And I think that we should normalize the letting go being okay. We should normalize the basket of laundry. We all have one. There was this awesome thread that I was on one day on IG, and I made some new internet mommy friends from it. We were, just coming clean about our baskets of laundry because we really do. We all have this basket of laundry, and it's there. Mine is in the room right now. And, I made like an internet best friend from that thread, but we have to normalize these things being okay. And that's why I think it's so amazing that you use your platform to keep it real about motherhood. That's so healthy. It's so needed. We have so much pressure and different things that we cannot control, but that aspect of it, that learning to let go, we can. And it feels different, but it also makes you examine, when did we get to this point where motherhood was, okay, you have the baby, and then after that, you just hurry up and get to the point to where it seems like the baby is not significant in your life. You know what I mean? Like, motherhood is huge. It's transformative. So much is going on, and we have it skewed. Like, the natural needs of our child, you may feel like, okay, well, I can't get this and this done because my baby is crying. Well, maybe the baby just needs you. This is the natural stage that they are in life right now. And I think even slowing things down and getting back to a point where we look at motherhood in that way, that we don't need to make room for motherhood in our life. Once we become mothers, it's cool if we can figure out ways for other things to fit in. But this work is so important. Like you said, that's what's paramount. You have this tiny person that you've been keeping alive and happy and fed, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like everybody says, I'm joining the team. It goes by so fast. Like, from him being this tiny to you guys see him. He is chunky
No.
and rolls and big and talking, and it happens so quickly. But just enjoy those moments. And again, I'm guilty too of having the moments of just like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to work, or I want to complete
We all
thing,
do.
and the baby's crying. And then, like you said, you have to kind of snap back where you're like, wait, maybe the baby's crying because he just wants to be cuddled, or he needs me just in that moment. You know what I mean? And that's what helps me not to feel so guilty about not getting these other things done. It's just looking at him and being like, okay, if he's happy and if I'm doing what he needs right now,
Yeah.
that's enough for right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
like it. I like that life doesn't always just go on, that sometimes the kids remind us to slow down.
Yeah.
And if you're practicing mindfulness, then you really appreciate those moments,
Yeah.
when your baby just brings you back down and slows you down.
Mm-hmm.
And what you get in return is really a reward. You get all this love and all the cuddles and kisses, and it's so worth
The cuddles are the
it.
Okay, let's go on to our next question. Okay, this is a good one. Any tips or advice on hair loss? See?
I can speak on this. Yes.
Let's have this
So the first thing I will say, yes, we've had this conversation a lot. We are both hair enthusiasts. I'll put it in that way. I think I told you before this, but I'm thinking about hair all the time. Like it's besides birth, it's one of my passions. You never know if you're going to have postpartum hair loss, hair shedding, postpartum shedding. But if you do, then you know how scary it can feel. You are aware that this happens, but when it starts to actually happen, you can kind of sort of have the freak out moment. I definitely did. I experienced a lot of postpartum shedding after both of my pregnancies. It can happen differently for different people. Your mom could have had it, you may not have it. Your mom, could not have had it, and then you still got it. So it's not even necessarily that, that's indicative of it. If you do experience postpartum shedding, understand that it is a process. It's part of a cycle. It's not going to last forever. I don't recommend driving yourself crazy with treatments just because the treatment, any type of hair treatment, there's some sort of specific issue that you're using it for. And with, hormones being the basis of postpartum shedding, those treatments may not work for that. You know what I mean? That's not what they are intended for. What I recommend is decreasing your stress, doing your best to not worry about it, be gentle with your styling. Even something like what I have now, like these braids, it's not something that I would necessarily recommend when you are healing from postpartum hair loss. Be easy on your hair. I do recommend that you maybe, like if you were a wash your hair every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks type of person, I would recommend that you do that a little bit more frequently. The hair loss, when you go longer periods of time with the postpartum shedding, it may seem to be more, but it's just that you're leaving your hair alone for a longer amount of time. So when you do go to detangle and all of that, you're seeing a lot more shed hair. And and I also recommend maybe going with styles that it's easy to keep your hair detangled. For me, that was keeping my hair stretched.
My child is coming in.
Okay, no problem.
To a little before 1:30. Probably like 1:30. 3. One bottle. Yeah. Baby's getting fussy.
That's okay. Motherhood. So yeah, but just I kept my hair stretched a lot just because for me it was easier to keep it detangled in that way. I didn't use heat, so I would just do twist outs, braid outs. That's still what I'm doing. I feel like I'm still healing from that time, but definitely once I stopped worrying as much, it got better. I tried to keep my hands out of my hair a lot, and I mean in the beginning with a baby and they're so grabby anyway, you're probably usually keeping your hair pulled back, but just be easy and be patient, and know that it may take a while. You know, you may be dealing with it for that whole first year and a half, but it will get better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you there is.
Yeah, I thank God I'm not experiencing it currently. I'm not gonna say yet because I know
Mm-hmm.
some people don't get it. So that's what we're praying for, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what not putting my hands in my hair looks like. I don't know what that like. I don't know what you're speaking another language to me that I don't understand. So I'm listening to you and I'm just like, because I don't know what I would do. So if we have to cross that bridge, we'll cross it when we get there. But yeah, see, me and C talked about that. So mentally, I'm trying my best to just be like, this is what happens. If it happens, there's nothing that I can do, and not stress myself even more. I think I'm pretty good with like accepting things for what they are,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
come about. So like, again, if we get there, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I'll be back
Yeah.
and we'll do a more in-depth talking about it. But like C said, if it's hormonal and it happens and it's not something you can control or change. So
That's
just
right.
don't add
And
to it by stressing, because stress alone, even if you aren't having
exactly.
that, would cause you to start losing your hair and all types of other stuff.
Yeah. You just want to you be really mindful to be as healthy as you possibly can, you know, with your diet. I mean, but it definitely, things change though. It's not forever. I mean, right about here, I actually had a full-on bald spot. Okay. um I had another one like somewhere like right in here, and I'm only saying that to just let you guys know, like, it really does go back, like it grows back. You know, it's gone from there. It can take a while, but the more you stress on it, like anything, you know, even when you're pregnant, you're at the end of pregnancy, there's all this, you know, is a baby gonna come, is it gonna be on my due date, all of that. When you let go of those types of, you know, expectations of a certain time period with things like this that you can't control anyway, you have a smoother time of it. But just, you know, be careful, be gentle with your hair for sure. Like I said, I was avoiding heat during that time, and anything that was bringing more stress to those areas. For me, it was edges a lot too. So, you know, pulling my hair back tight, that was not happening at that time. I would do things like, you know, two strand twists all over, and then just leave them alone, you
Yeah,
know.
that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. What are the benefits of a postpartum doula compared to, I guess we can say, like, compared to a birth doula?
Yeah, so some doulas do exclusively, you know, they're birth doulas, and you know, you may see them once in the postpartum, just shortly after your birth, to follow up with you, see how you guys are doing, and that's generally it. Whereas a postpartum doula, you would work with much longer in the postpartum period. It may be for several weeks, it may be for several months. They usually offer services that you would use in a postpartum, things like placenta encapsulation, belly binding, things of that sort. They also, a lot of postpartum doulas, they get confused a lot with nannies. I will say that. And they are not a nanny. They're typically working with you only for that short period in the beginning of baby's life. But you may find a postpartum doula offering services like meal prep, light cleaning around the home, things like that. Some postpartum doulas even provide like overnight care for the baby. They would stay in the home. But the difference between a postpartum doula and a nanny would be that, you know, that nanny would usually end up working with you for a lot longer, and they're focused just on the child care, whereas a postpartum doula is going to be caring for mama. They may or may not be providing hands-on infant care. They may just be there to help you out. They typically come with a lot of breastfeeding knowledge and ways to support you throughout your healing as well.
Okay. Okay. So there's another question about, okay, we're back to this. How long did it take you to heal from your tear?
I thought you were going to say, how long did it take the hair to grow back? But the tears, so
Tears.
let's talk
We're
about
always
it.
asking about the tears. So I can start on this one because
Okay.
I had a 2nd-degree tear with Ev. As I mentioned in my labor video, he came out with his hands on his face like this. And so, yeah, that caused more stress down there. So I had an epidural. I didn't feel it when it happened. But as, you know, I started moving around the next few days, I definitely was very sore. I mean, you're going to be sore regardless doing vaginal birth or C-section, whatever, but I was really, really sore. I'll say this though. I think when you hear vaginal tear, you're like, I'm about to be in like the worst pain of my life. I'm not going to be able to move. I'm not going to be able to. And it wasn't like that. So like, it
Right.
sounds so bad, but I don't, I guess it's because like we say, our bodies know what it's doing. Like we're meant for this. And I was okay. Like, honestly, within the next, like, although I was supposed to be relaxing more, I will say that I was doing too much. I was supposed to be relaxed. Yara told me like the first 2 weeks, the nurses told me the first 2 weeks, like, stay sitting down. I felt so good that I was up and about and I was moving and I was doing too much to the point where I did re-tear myself at one point and I popped a stitch. So listen to them telling you to relax and sit down.
Totally.
But that's just me telling you that I was okay. Like, I was fine to be moving around and walking up and down the steps. I was okay. I felt fine. I was just really sore, and it just took time for my body to heal. It wasn't like when I went to the bathroom, I would say the first couple times, of course, that was a little difficult going just because you're sore. But afterwards, I didn't take Colace. I drank prune juice. I was drinking my water. And when I kept up on those things, I was perfectly fine. So, yeah, I know it sounds really, really bad. And it did take, for me, it took it took 8 weeks for me to be fully healed up, my stitches to be dissolved, and everything to be back to normal. But yeah, it really wasn't that bad.
It's not something to hold in your heart and mind during pregnancy and be afraid of it. You know what I mean? Like you said, you didn't notice the extra sensation. I mean, even from my time as a midwife's assistant, assisting with suturing, I can tell you that most times the baby didn't come out and then mama was like, I feel something extra. That must be the tear. I mean, most times we were informing mama that, oh, and you have a tear. You know what I mean? And the other thing I want to say is that not all tears even require stitches. There were a lot of times we could send a mama home just with some instructions to be careful, to take it easy. Definitely do listen, take it easy. You know, you want to try to be mindful of even small things like the way you get in and out of the car. Things like that, as long as you understand that, you know, you need to try and keep those knees together as much as you can. I think they call it like the royal family thing where you hold your knees together as you're getting in and out of a car, things like that. But just, you know, you'll feel great on some days. You know, you will feel like I didn't even feel like I had a baby, but you still want to take it easy. Your body is still healing, and even then you can only see what's healing on the outside. You can't see the inside and that progress. You don't know what that's like. So definitely take it easy. But last thing I'll say on it is, whatever instructions they give you to care for your birthing bits after you had the baby, follow those to a T. Whether you had a belly birth or a vaginal birth, make sure you follow all of those, okay? From the person who was your caregiver, not from somebody who tells you, you know, oh, well, this is what I did. Follow the instructions that they gave you for what you have going on with your body. We want safe healing, y'all.
Yes, definitely. And I can say a sitting donut was so
Yes.
for me. I wound up getting it later than I should have, but I would recommend this for any mama who is pregnant. And even right now, if you've just had your baby and you feel super uncomfortable, once I got that donut, it was so helpful to sit on that and take the pressure off of that area. So yeah, that's definitely helpful. And like Sierra said, I noticed that certain angles, if I got up too quickly or if I just spread my legs too wide or something, that's when I would feel the most pain or discomfort or whatever. So
Right.
again, it's just being gentle with your body and realizing you just birthed a human
That's
and just
right.
giving yourself that grace. We're going to always come back to grace. I think every single answer that we have is going to relate somehow to grace and just like
Yeah.
being easy with yourself and giving yourself time to heal and to just adjust.
Yeah, and your body is going to heal. Don't become preoccupied with thoughts of tearing. Okay, pregnant mamas, don't,
Right.
because there's, first of all, there's no way to know if you're going to tear. We can't predict that. Um, Somebody told me once, well, they have big heads in my husband's family. This is a true story. It doesn't matter. Even still, we don't know if you're going to tear. You might have a big headed baby and still not tear. Okay.
And then a little
We
bit of
don't
that
know, but you
energy.
can't, if you do, you can't control it,
Right.
so you might as well not worry about that. That is the least of your concerns. As your baby is descending, your body is going to unfold and open in the way that it needs to. We will deal with the postpartum when we deal with the postpartum, but like Tiff said, it's basic care. The healing does happen. They give you the peri bottle to use afterwards. My hack on that, I have 2 hacks to share on this. My first hack is in your peri bottle. If they tell you squeeze and use water instead of wiping, definitely do that. Don't wipe, but maybe think of subbing that water out for like a healing herbal solution, can help to speed along the healing. My other hack is for the donut. If you don't know where to get a donut, can't get your hands on one. My hack is using a travel pillow, the neck pillows that you use when you're traveling. You can use one of those in the same way and get very similar relief.
That makes sense. Okay, let's see. So this question just says, what people don't warn you about.
What people don't warn you about.
Like for postpartum, what people don't talk about. I'm trying to think of what you didn't prepare me for. See, I had the ultimate guide right here. She like over prepared me for stuff. So I'm trying to think of like what we didn't talk about that I experienced, or
the only thing that comes to my mind is what people don't talk about enough is still being proud of yourself and owning your birth experience if something happens that wasn't a part of your original plan. I feel like people hold this shame when there is no shame. There is no hierarchy or ranking system for moms. Your birth is going to take twists and turns. We don't use a birth plan as doulas to plan your birth. This is going to happen, and then this, and then this, and then this. We really use it as a teaching tool. Yeah. Whatever happens is acceptable because that's what was necessary. You know what I mean? That's what was divinely ordained to happen. Yeah, it had to happen. And there is no judgment there. There should not be. And until we normalize being proud of the fact that regardless, we brought our babies into this world, and owning the twists and turns and the different decisions we made that we didn't think we would make, right, we should still be so proud of ourselves as moms. As I'm saying this in my mind, I see that that image of the woman, and she's Rosie the Riveter, and she's got like her arm. We should still be so proud of ourselves. We got through all of pregnancy and everything that brought, and we got through birth, and here we are, still standing. That is worth being proud of. And whatever happened, know that your story could help somebody else. But if we worry too much and we're too ashamed to share it because, well, I didn't plan on having a C-section, but I had a C-section. I didn't plan on getting an epidural, and then I got an epidural, or whatever it is, you don't know who you could help by sharing that, who you could help to take that competitive edge off. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we really are too hard on ourselves with moms. And I think if more of us would keep it real and talk about what really happened, then we would be able to help so many more people. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough in postpartum.
Agreed. Because I think everyone who's been following my journey knew that we were prepping for a natural birth, no meds and vaginal birth. And it's one thing to talk about it. It is a whole different thing to experience your labor and be in that moment and have to make that decision. And I know for me, I love being able to share this stuff with you guys, because I hope that you see that no matter how perfect someone's life looks, or whatever, however you envision how perfect someone's birth looks, I want you guys to know that we all have these thoughts. So like, even I had a thought while I was laboring, before I called Sierra to ask her like what was the best thing to do. If I got the epidural, would it lead to a C-section? Before calling her, I felt that guilt a little bit, because I wanted my natural birth. That's just what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it to the end, and I powered through as far as I could. But then I got to a point where it was no longer an enjoyable experience for me. Meaning, like, I was no longer doing my breathing. I was no longer able to check out and like do my hypnobirthing and remain calm. And I knew that that was more detrimental than getting an epidural and taking that pressure off of myself. And so before I called C, I did have that moment of like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But when you realize, like you said, making the best decision for you and the best decision for your baby, and the most important thing is remembering that you just want to get your baby here safely. That is the most important thing. And if you can't do that anymore, if you're checking out, if you are starting to scream at the top of your lungs, it's not worth it. Do what you
No, it's
do.
not.
Yeah, I'm glad I made that decision. It's the best decision that I made, because I was able to get like a quick nap after they gave me those meds, and then power through the rest of my birth. And he got here healthily.
Yeah. And that's something too that I think a lot of people don't understand about doulas, and they feel, okay, well, I'm not planning on having a natural birth though, or I don't think that I can have a natural birth. Can I still have a doula? You absolutely can. A doula is not this person who's there, to judge you on your decisions. Doulas are not just for people who are birthing at home or at a birthing center. Doulas support you, period. Whatever birth you tell me you want to have, my one concern is that we work towards that, and that you feel supported in every single choice that you make along the way. When you told me you wanted to get an epidural, I'm in my mind, I'm just like, you go, girl, because whatever you want, that is what you should have. And whatever decision you're making in the moment, I know the work we do together. And so I know that you're making an informed decision and you're doing what's right for you. This is your birth. As long as you remember that, and that you're making these decisions for you and your body and your baby, not for me, not for anybody else, And I've even been in person at births with mamas who are like, I think I want to get the epidural, and they're afraid to say that. So I just want to put that out there, that doulas are for everyone. We support you in your decisions, whether you tell me you want to start with all the drugs, or you tell me you want to have your baby at home, in your bedroom. Doulas support you. Get you one.
Yeah. Get you one. Trust me, because
that's gonna be my new shirt. Doulas, get you one.
We're on it. I think that's I think just hearing, it's like when you have your doula, again, we talk about that support, right? Like having her to be able to call and to just give me that like encouraging, do what you need to do, make the decision that you know is right. You know what to do for yourself. That helps. Like, yes, I'm a strong woman. I make my own decisions, but it just helps having that support of a woman who has had her kids and knows birthing and knows. It just helped to have her there and to just have her encouraging word. And I also called her just for advice, like, getting it right now, how's that going to relate to a C-section? So like just having that person there to talk to and to ask these things during my labor was so helpful. So helpful. See,
I'm glad. I'm so glad to hear it. It does my doula heart good.
But yes, so that's basically I think a roundabout of like what we both experienced that most people don't talk about. And
don't hide your story. Don't feel high. You know what? There's actually like this freedom in sharing your birth story, and letting people know what you experienced and what you went through. It's healing for you too. So speak on it.
All of it. Share all of it. Share the fear.
All of it. Absolutely.
Share the moments. Share all of that, because I have had people come into my inbox that said the same thing. Like this one girl said she felt so guilty about getting an epidural when she kept telling everybody that she was going natural, and like everybody was telling her, you're not going to make it, you're going to get an epidural. And she said she felt so ashamed to go back and
Yeah.
tell people, like, it's almost like she was proving them right. And what I
Right,
was like,
right.
don't think that way. Like, you made a decision for you in that moment. And the scariest
Mm-hmm.
thing is imagining a mom during labor not wanting to get an epidural because she's afraid of what everybody else is going to say. It's like, that's
Yep.
the last thing you need to be thinking about when you are
Yeah.
birthing, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope that there's a lot of pregnant moms watching this, so that when you go into labor, you hear our voices telling you to not be ashamed of any decision that you need to make for yourself. Don't worry about everybody
Nope.
else. It'll be fine, because your
That's
baby's going to
right.
be safely and you're going to be okay. And that is what matters.
Yep. Own it. Own every piece. That's
Yeah.
the slogan that one of my sisters came up with. I can't take credit for that, but I will apply it to this situation. Own every piece of your motherhood.
Yes. Yes. Um, so there's a question here about my endometriosis. Someone said, did you feel as though your endometriosis has gotten better since birth? Okay, so unpopular opinion on my part, I believe that endometriosis can be cured. They say there's no cure for it. I truly believe that changing your diet and taking care of your body better, I do believe you can heal it. I do believe that mine was
Mm-hmm.
healed by not eating, and this is, again, my opinion for my body. I'm not telling anybody else anything, but for me, I stopped eating dairy. I started to eat better organic foods, not eating much fast food, so lowering hormones
Mm-hmm.
and antibiotics and all that stuff. And for the first year when I got off of my birth control, that was the first time in like 12 years that I had been off birth control, to see how my natural cycle was. And it was very, very normal. It was at max 5 days. It was light. I didn't experience much cramping. And now I am breastfeeding with Ev. So I have not, I mean, I know I talked to Sierra, some people get their periods still while breastfeeding. I haven't gotten my period back yet. But in that year, my endometriosis was like non-existent. So I believe
Mm-hmm.
that I'm cured from it. You know, some people don't believe in that. So I don't speak it into existence anymore. You know, I don't say that I have
Yeah.
endometriosis. I say that I had endometriosis, and that I don't have it anymore. So that's how that's going, which is,
Yay.
and if anything changes, of course, you guys know I'll update you with everything. So once my cycle is back, I will let you know, how we're doing then.
And for all those who are dealing with it, please look into herbal healing. Look into the benefits of a healing yoni steaming session, a series of sessions, and just having that as a part of your life.
Yeah, I did a few of them. I didn't do them
Herbs.
as consistently. Yeah, but herbs are everything. Herbs and diet. Like, diet is
Yeah,
real. Dairy, for
absolutely.
those who are having like really bad menstrual cycles, dairy has so many hormones and
Mm-hmm.
creates a lot of mucus in your body. And once you start studying like holistic
Yeah.
healing, you find out that mucus is like the cause of like almost every sickness that you have. And so if you can lessen that or cut it out completely, just to even test out to see if you feel better, any illness that you're dealing with, if you can cut that out and see if that helps you. I mean, I haven't had seasonal allergies as bad as I used to have them when I was younger. I went
Right.
years without having them at all. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, hold it, like changing your diet and looking into herbs is so real.
Yep.
Yep. We both live by it. We're always like, yes, me too. I tried this and I did this.
Yeah.
Um, someone asked, what supplements should you take? So I am currently taking my postnatal vitamin. I did get my placenta encapsulated. So I'm taking those, not every single day. I take it like a few times a week. But my postnatal I'm doing every day. Lately, so I was put onto colloidal silver by Sierra, and it's just it's an immune booster. So I've been putting it in my tea every morning. I do sea moss. I don't do very many like medicines. It's all gonna be like, for the most part, natural things. So sea moss and elderberry syrup. And these are all like immune boosting things that you can do on a daily basis to just take care of your
Mm-hmm.
body. Um, I would definitely tell you to do your own research. Don't just go get it and use it. Just know what you're taking into your body. But these are the things that I'm doing on a daily basis. See, would you have any other suggestions?
Yeah, so I'll share my personal and then I'll share my thoughts in general. So for me, because I'm 2 years postpartum, and notice I said postpartum because that's still the postpartum period. So I do also take a postnatal formula. I started out taking my prenatal still. I do recommend that you try that if that's what you have, but if you don't notice that it is supporting you fully, if you feel like your energy is low or you just feel off, then consider switching that out. Everybody thinks you have to stick with your prenatal, the same one you were taking, but if it's not serving you, don't take that. I also have been on liquid chlorophyll and colloidal silver since having the baby. I never did any type of milk supplements. I don't recommend that anybody start off automatically just taking, mother's milk tea or any type of herbs, even for milk production. Give your body a chance, see what you need. And if you decide with a lactation professional that you need to supplement for your milk production, then do that. But don't just assume that once I have the baby, I have to start taking something for breastfeeding, because that could cause another set of issues. I also take a collagen. I take a vegan collagen. That is the only thing that I did add in with a focus on the postpartum hair loss. I took that collagen and I'm still taking that. It's a vegan form of it. And other than that, I make sure that when I was pregnant, I was deficient in iron. So I took iron, but I kept taking that for a little while postpartum. And I would recommend, if you are taking something right now under the advice of your caregiver during pregnancy, don't just think as soon as I have the baby, I stop. Get your blood work done first and make sure that you're not still, deficient. It may be vitamin D, it may be iron. You may still need that extra boost for a little bit. But with any supplement, make sure that you're not just taking something because someone else is taking it. Make sure that this is what you actually need.
Right.
Okay. So talk to your care provider.
Yeah. I did have a drop in my iron, maybe like the week or two after, directly after labor. And then for like the week or two after Ev was born. So because I don't like taking supplements if I don't have to, I tried to like power through the first like 2-3 days. And I had a day where I got extremely lightheaded and weak. And it was because my iron was so low. So I did take a few iron supplements for like the first 2 weeks. And then I stopped and kind of just gauged how my body because I don't like taking, I don't want to become dependent on anything. That's how I always feel. So I'll take it for a short amount of time and then I'll stop and see if my body still needs it. So that's what I did with the iron pills. You just reminded me of that. But you also reminded me, there was a question on the last question box. They said if they're not producing, a lot of people are asking me about my breastfeeding journey. If they're not producing, what they could do. Now, the advice that I've been giving out, because I'm so new at this, has been to talk to a lactation consultant. That has been the top advice that I can give. I thank God that I didn't have many issues with starting to feed with Ev. I did take Sierra's advice and I took my lactation consultant's advice to not pump for the first 6 weeks, to just let my body adjust to him and to learn his schedule and to start to produce just as much as he needs. And that worked out perfectly for me. I didn't have any issues. I had a few problems latching in the hospital, but I had a lactation consultant come in and she showed me a few ways to hold him and how to get him to latch better. And that helped me immediately. I noticed a lot of people who have asked this question has not seen a lactation consultant. And I'm telling you, that has been the most helpful thing. I'm grateful to have a friend who's also a lactation consultant so I can contact her anytime. But a lot of insurances offer lactation consultants for free in postpartum. So contact your insurance and see if they offer one, but also just try to find one if your insurance doesn't, because that's going to be the most helpful thing that you can do for yourself.
Yeah. So I second that all the way. Part of that postpartum planning that I do with my clients includes that preparing for breastfeeding. I feel like success is gained when you have been exposed to what to expect. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? A lot of folks quit when things pop up. When with the supply issue, I would say you need to first determine that what you're experiencing is a true supply issue. Oftentimes it's not. That's where a lactation professional comes in. And the lactation professional that Tiff is speaking of, I'm grateful now to be able to say that she is my lactation consultant as well. She's become a friend. She's amazing. I now connect all of my clients with her
Petra.
during their pregnancy. Hey Petra, we love you, girl. I connect all of my clients with Petra while they're still pregnant, and they have these sessions with her where they can talk about what to expect. She can talk with them. If you are someone who has a condition, a pre-existing condition, and someone has told you you're not going to be able to breastfeed, don't just take that and say, okay, let me plan for Similac. I
Right.
have sent clients to Petra with PCOS and with other issues that, you know, they may have been told, oh, you're not going to be able to. And she has sent them back empowered and informed. And, you know, you definitely need to make sure during pregnancy that you identify a lactation consultant, reach out to them,
Mm-hmm.
and have that connection. Because I'm telling you, when an issue arises after you have the baby, the last thing you need to do is, okay, it's 11:30 at night, be trying to search and see who can I contact, who can I
Right.
reach out to and call. It's much better to already have somebody identified. The only way to truly determine if you are having supply issues is to work with a lactation consultant and or your child's pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go off of how long the feeding looked like. It didn't look like they were getting a lot. You know, I can't really hand express a lot, so I must not have a lot. None of that is an accurate way to figure out whether or not you truly have supply issues. And again, I will say, don't just start taking things, taking supplements, even things like lactation cookies, and they seem innocent. Don't just start doing that. Do that if that's what a lactation professional has advised you to do. And like Tiff said, when you're in the hospital, ask to see that lactation consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Ask to see them while you're there, you know, and lean into them for all the advice, all the tips and tricks. Even if you think everything is going great, I latch my baby on, we're fine, let them at least come in and observe a feeding session. They may be able to suggest something that is helpful to you. It could be as simple as a position tweak, you know, the way that you're holding your baby. Maybe they notice you're kind of bent over and holding your baby, and they know long term that's going to lead to sore back, posture issues, things like that. But definitely get a lactation professional involved. Don't try to diagnose these things yourself.
Agreed. Agreed. So we are nearing our hour.
We knew this would happen.
You knew this would happen because all the time. I think last time we were like an hour 45 and we didn't even realize it until I got off and I was trying to download the video and I was like, what?
Shout out to everybody that's watched the whole video that last week.
Yo, y'all are the best because I'm like, I don't know if I have the mental capacity to stick through for an hour 45. And you guys really like watched this thing and came back with questions and notes and everything. So we're so happy that these help. For as long as we are connected, we are going to try to do these every so often just to touch on, you know, whatever questions you guys have. We are both, I mean, Sierra has dedicated her life to this work, and she has pulled me in, and I am here for it. You know, I love using my platform to try and educate as many mamas as possible about your rights and about taking care of your body and your baby. And so, again, we will do these for as long as we possibly can.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, leave them below. We're checking the comments. You can find us both on Instagram. I will put C's Instagram right here. I'll put mine's right here. I'll put the links below this video and you can contact us and ask us any questions that you have. Is there anything else you want to add on, C, before we get out of here?
You know, just like your pregnancy, your postpartum is a journey. You know, the birth is but a moment. Postpartum is really forever. You know what I mean? So take it slowly, be gentle with yourself, and definitely reach out for help when you need it.
Agreed. And my last thing that I want to say is what I say all the time, and I will beat it into you if I have to. Like, ask for help. That is the biggest thing that I see when I see mamas going into, I don't like speaking on postpartum depression because I know that that is something hormonal and that some people can't avoid. But what I do also see is that a lot of women are not having actual postpartum depression. A lot of times they're overwhelmed because they don't want to ask for help and they don't want to delegate. And they're trying to be super mom. And this idea of us being these strong women that have to do it all is a facade. And let's like denormalize that. Is that a word? Can we
now it is
normalize that? Can we take it away? Because
now it is.
We're
canceling that.
We're canceling that. I love being a strong woman, but being strong also looks like, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm struggling today and I need you. I need to get this done. Can you watch the baby? And it's also not feeling guilty when you leave your baby. Like, it's okay. You are still a woman. You are still a person who needs to take care of themselves. So, don't allow you becoming a mom to completely forget about you mentally, forget about your needs, or forget about even your just your desires. It shouldn't always have to be something that you need. If you need to take care of yourself
Absolutely.
and do the fun things, you still need to be you. So
in the spirit of motherhood, I will quote Daniel Tiger real quick. And if you're a new mama, you will get to know Daniel Tiger. Do your best. Your best is the best for you.
Your best is the best for you. Thank you so much for sticking this out with us. Thank you, C, for taking this time to talk to my audience, to talk to your audience, to just encourage these mamas to be the best that they can be.
Love it.
All right. And so we're out of here. Thank you guys. Bye.